What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show. And the season is pretty much at its end. And I had to chime in on the conversation of the MVP race. And the fact that there's all this stuff that I feel is echo chamber-ish. You know, everybody is saying Josh Allen should win. Josh Allen should win. And all this type of stuff. But yet, to me, he hasn't been the most valuable player in the NFL. I mean, I feel that there's this thing where, you know, sometimes they say it's, you know, it's never anything against it. Or when they do have an issue with the person who is the most valuable player, they sit up there and say that there's voter fatigue. Which to me bothers me because there was never voter fatigue when Aaron Rodgers was being given MVP awards. There was never anybody saying, oh, you know what, man, I'm just tired of voting for Aaron Rodgers. Somebody else should get it. No, it was year after year and time after time where they were always trying to give it to Aaron Rodgers more often. Even at a time when Tom Brady was in the NFL and he was clearly a better quarterback. So, again, it's the thing of like, it's only voter fatigue when it comes to certain players. But even when you think of them statistically, you're talking about why is there even a discussion? And then if you're gonna make Josh Allen a discussion, then you might as well put guys that are close to him in the discussion as well. Like, there is no way you can say Josh Allen is deserving of the MVP and not say Jaden Daniels is deserving of the MVP. Now, just to give you an understanding, I'm gonna tell you the stats of 4 guys that should be in MVP consideration. But at the same time, I'm gonna let you know, sometimes I just think that a lot of people don't do their research or they don't look at the games and then they just repeat what they've heard other people say. Or they repeat what their friends have said. Like a good example is a lot of the commenters on ESPN and a lot of these other places. They're quick to talk about it how, oh yeah, Josh Allen should win it. And it's like, well, what has Josh Allen done to make you think he won it? I'm just going to give y'all a few things. So I'm going to start with Josh Allen. So when you look at Josh Allen, right, he has 28 passing touchdowns and 12 rushing touchdowns, which gives him a total of 40 touchdowns, right? Not a problem. He also has 6 interceptions. Very good stats. He has 3,731 passing yards and 5,531 rushing yards. Those are very good stats. That's without a doubt. But when you look down into the games, if you've watched his games, there has been stuff where he hasn't been the best. A good example of this is he has 6 games with the completion percentage of under 60%. Under 60%. And a lot of those, and the games that he actually had that completion percentage in were games where he should have had a higher completion percentage in. Again, you're talking about against the New York Jets, against the New England Patriots, against the Rams, against the Colts. He had a very low completion percentage in those games. That is something that you have to dig deep into, especially when you're talking about a guy that is you want to consider the league MVP. He has 5 games with a completion percentage above 70%. 5. Now, again, you can sit up there and hear his stats and say, okay, you know what? Yeah, he's the MVP because those stats are good. Hold on. Now, again, I said, if you're going to consider Josh Allen, you might want to also consider Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is having one of the best rookie seasons we've seen. And this is following the superior rookie season we saw from C.J. Stroud. Jayden Daniels is having a better rookie season than C.J. Stroud, which is actually crazy to say, but he is. Here's Jayden Daniels' numbers for if y'all wanted to know. Jayden Daniels had 25 passing touchdowns. He has 6 rushing touchdowns. Which is a total of 31 total touchdowns. He has 3,530 yards passing, which is only 201 yards less than Josh Allen. He has 864 rushing yards. He leads the NFL for quarterbacks in that category. He has 3 games, only 3, where he threw for under 60%, where he completed under 60% of his passes. Only 3. He has 6 games where he completed above 70% of his passes. 6 games. It was actually 7, but I took one away because he didn't finish that game. But he has 6 games with a completion percentage above 70. That's 1 game better than Josh Allen. That's 1 game better than Josh Allen. So you're talking about, and not only that, you're talking about with under 60%, that's 3 games better than Josh Allen. So Jayden Daniels, if you're going to consider Josh Allen, you got to consider Jayden Daniels, right? You got to, because their numbers are so similar. You're talking about Jayden Daniels at 25 touchdowns, Josh Allen at 28. That's 3 off. You talking about interceptions? Josh Allen 6, Jayden Daniels 9. That's 3 off. The only thing he's beating him at is the rushing touchdowns, where Josh Allen has 12 and Jayden has 6. But then Jayden makes it up in the rushing yardage right there. So you can sit up here and call Josh Allen the MVP, but what makes Jayden Daniels not that special or worthy of MVP consideration, especially when you talk about how his play has maximized his team? Because everybody wants to sit up there and say, well, Josh Allen's team wasn't supposed to be that good. Neither was the Commanders. And I'm one of the fans who sat up there and said there's no way the Commanders are going to be that good. And look at what happened. So there you are. Now, here's some other guys. Now, again, this guy to me is the league MVP, and everybody should know who I'm about to say. And it's Lamar Jackson. You're talking about 39 touchdowns, 39 passing touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. He has 4 rushing touchdowns. That's where he gets lost right here. But again, you're talking about he's passing more than he's running. Then he's throwing more passing touchdowns than he is rushing touchdowns. Because again, early in his career, he was doing a lot more. He had more rushing touchdowns. I think the past 2 years, his numbers have fallen down when it comes to rushing touchdowns because he's throwing more touchdowns. Now, so that gives him a total of 43 total touchdowns. It's a lot of touchdowns. He has 3,955 yards passing. That's 324 yards more than Josh Allen. What does that tell you? That's 224 yards more than Josh Allen. Now you sit up here and you say he has 852 rush yards. Here's a crazy stat. There are only 2 quarterbacks in the history of NFL to throw for more than 3,500 yards and rush for more than 800 yards. Only 2 guys. You know who those 2 guys are? Lamar Jackson and Jayden Daniels. Those are the only 2 guys who have done it. So those are stats you have to pay very close attention to when you're considering a league MVP. Now, here's some more stats. Lamar Jackson has only one game in which he completed under 60% of his passes. Only one. Only one. What that tells you something. That tells you something massive. You know, that he only has one game where he completed under 60% of his passes. One. He has 8 games where he completed above 70% of his passes. Above 70%. 8 games, y'all. There's no way you can hear his statistics and say he's not the league MVP. The league MVP is a regular season award. And and see, it's crazy because everybody wants to then throw in his postseason stats. But yet and still, y'all don't want to give Josh Allen that same criticism, because what has he won in the postseason? How far has he really gotten in the postseason? I mean, in all reality, you're talking about where are we going at? I mean, there's nothing saying that, oh my God, Josh Allen had made a Super Bowl and had won a Super Bowl. No, don't put their postseason in there when you're not considering anybody else's postseason and what they've done in the postseason. Don't sit up there and say, well, he shouldn't be league MVP because his postseason numbers don't matter. This is a regular season award. And this guy has been the best quarterback in the regular season when you talk about Lamar Jackson. There's been nobody better than him. Okay? He has been the star. He has been the face of the league this year. He has been a guy that sits up there and has shown that he was able to go from a quarterback that only did a lot of running to a quarterback now that has put it together where he's throwing touchdowns more than he's rushing for touchdowns. Last but not least, is the last guy on this list is Joe Burrow. Yeah, Joe Burrow without a shadow of a doubt. You're talking about Joe Burrow has 42 touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns. That gives him 44 touchdowns. He's thrown 8 interceptions. He has 4,641 yards passing. He almost had he could have possibly had a 5,000 yard passing season this year, but he didn't. Still, he has 202 yards rushed, 202 rushing yards. So I mean, he hasn't been a slouch at all. You're talking about he also has one game in which he completed under 60% of his passes. Only one. Then you sit up there and he has 10 games where he completed above 70% of his passes. 10 of those games. And you're talking about in a 17 game season. This guy's done a phenomenal job as well. You could also throw Jamar Chase in there. Over 1,600 yards receiving. Well, I think he's second in the league with catches, because I think Malik Neighbors has more catches or something like that. 16 touchdowns. I mean, you know, you're talking about a guy who also has a lot of stats as well. But I understand why Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase should not be in the MVP race, because why? They need help to get into the playoffs. Their teams haven't been winning. So I get it. Their team wasn't quite successful. Hey, the Commanders beat them early on. Their team isn't being successful, but they got players who's been valuable to their teams. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase has been very valuable to the Cincinnati Bengals. And if they get the help that they need, if Kansas City goes out there and beat Denver and they backdoor themselves into the playoffs, you're talking about who wants to actually see Cincinnati in the playoffs. You got to think about those type of things. But again, we're talking about league MVP. Who has been the best of the best this season. And right now, when you talk about who has been the best of the best, Lamar Jackson, without a shadow of a doubt, is in fact the league MVP. And again, if you're going to sit up there and you're going to give consideration to Josh Allen to be the league MVP, then you should also give consideration to Jaden Daniels, who has similar numbers to Josh Allen. The only category where he's failing at is in the rushing touchdown category. And understand he missed the game. Not only that, Washington was trying to make it a point of pushing him to do more passing anyway. So again, if we're talking about regular season, and we're talking about all this, and we're talking about most valuable player, it's without a shadow of a doubt that it's Lamar Jackson is the MVP of the league. You cannot talk back. You cannot say anything about that. He is, in fact, the league MVP. But I do feel that Jaden Daniels and Josh Allen should be number 2. Because, again, I don't see how you can't split the votes, especially when you're talking about they have similar numbers. Y'all tell me what y'all think. How do y'all feel about this MVP race? Do y'all feel that Josh Allen should even be considered in the MVP race without considering Jaden Daniels? Do y'all feel that Lamar Jackson is in fact the league MVP? Because again, like I said, it's funny how when Aaron Rodgers was being given all those league MVPs, nobody was talking about voter fatigue. Now, all of a sudden, Lamar Jackson has an opportunity to be one of the first quarterbacks, probably the only quarterback, to win league MVP 3 times. I think he might be the only one to win league MVP 3 times. No, because Aaron Rodgers won 4. So no, he will be the first black quarterback to win league MVP 3 times. So now we got for voter fatigue. For a guy who's been absolutely phenomenal the whole season? Come on, y'all. Y'all tell me what y'all think. How do y'all feel about this league MVP voting and where it should go? Y'all tell me what y'all think. Other than that, this has been your man, John Fortune, and it's been a Frustrated Fan Sports Show.